Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about what Scarlet and Violet sets you should be paying attention to in the Pokemon TCG. So, I think this is an important video to make as everyone's has their eyes on Surging Sparks. Price is going crazy with that set. The set's not even out for over another week still. It's just a good time in the hobby as there's more life being breathed into it. There's prices are going up across most sets. It's a good time to check back in and see, hey, what should we be paying attention to, what's out there today, and then is there anything for us that's going to be worth buying and maybe holding on to or even ripping ourselves for that's a good long-term investment or even short-term investment in the hobby. So to start off, I want to at least talk about what are my views on the current best Scarlet and Violet sets out there today. So you can see that on the screen now. Some of this I'm sure you might agree with me on. Some of this you might have your own opinions on though. So starting off though, I think there's S tier is going to be Scarlet and Violet 151 and Paldean Fates. 151, it's a no-brainer. It's the most exciting set that's come out in years. Again, aside from the hype from Surging Sparks we're seeing right now, but 151's been out for a while now. ETBs for that set are going for I think over $100. The Pokemon Center ETBs are going for uh over $200, and booster bundles are going for over $50 on the market today. So packs are almost $10 a pack for 151. The cards are nostalgic. It's a great set. Long term, it's probably going to be one of, if not the best set for Scarlet and Violet. Then second up, I have Paldean Fates. Paldean Fates, it didn't get too much love in the beginning, but I think long term it's going to be one of the nicest sets. It's got the shiny Charizard or Terra Charizard, it's got the shiny Gardevoir, the Bubble Mew that everyone's been hyping up for the last few weeks or months now. So I think long term these are probably going to be our two S tier sets. A tier, this is going to be again where some of you might uh differ in your opinion, but A tier I have Surging Sparks and Twilight Masquerade. Now why are neither of these sets an S tier despite the success we're seeing early on with Surging Sparks, despite the success that we're seeing currently with Twilight Masquerade? Well, I think that's going to be because we don't know long term how these are going to hold up. Right now, Twilight Masquerade, everyone was in love with the Gray Ninja card. Surging Sparks, everyone's in love with a few of those cards in that set, but we don't know if this is going to be our evolving skies of the Sword and Shield era, or of the Scarlet Violet era. For all we know, in 3 months, in 6 months, there might be a new main series set that comes out and knocks both of these down into a lower tier, or one of these down into a lower tier. And that's actually why I put Paldea Evolved into C tier, which again, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but early on, we might have put Paldea Evolved in A tier due to the hype and success that that was getting once prices started to go up. But in my opinion, there was nothing too exciting about Paldea Evolved. It was just the excitement about the price going up. I wasn't excited to rip anything about that. It had one chase card in my opinion, which was the Magikarp, and the price on that, it's nothing too surprising, too shocking. So not only has that seen less growth once new sets started to come out, but it also had a little bit of, I'd say, like a hiccup when there was a very small reprint in the market. Now the reprint for booster boxes, it didn't do anything crazy to the price. It didn't knock it down too much, but it also hasn't really fought back since then. So again, Paldea Evolved, I knocked that down, and again, we might see it come up. I don't think we'll see it come up too well in the future. But again, I share those same views with Surging Sparks and Twilight Masquerade. Right now they're A tier, they're doing well. They might get knocked down later, or one of these could be the evolving skies of Scarlet Violet. So again, that's where my views are currently for these sets right now. The B tier then, I'm getting into Stellar Crown, Paradox Rift, and Obsidian Flames. Truthfully, the only thing about these sets, why they're in B tier, they're exciting to open. Prices are still cheap. That's where I'm at with these sets. I think they had really big print runs, so I don't think they're going to get too hyped up, but long term they could also be successful. So that's my B tier. C tier we talked about. D tier, These are going to be things that, again, I don't think people were too excited to open. The price was low for a fairly long time, and I don't see too much excitement about this in the future. Although when I get into the buy now part, you're going to see my opinion change slightly on some of these as we get into um, again a little later into this video. But D tier, Temporal Forces, Scarlet Violet base set, Shrouded Fable. Again, not too exciting. It's not to say that there's not going to be some price movement on these in the future, but again, not too exciting for myself. So that's my rankings in terms of what sets we have today out today. Again, as we continue though to go through the Scarlet Violet era, we have a whole other year left in front of us. These might move around a little more. Again, most notably, Surging Sparks and Twilight Masquerade. Maybe one of them gets up to S tier. Maybe some of them get knocked down as newer or more exciting sets come out in 2025. So getting into that, then I do want to pivot over into what should you be buying now. And again, it's going to be a little interesting because some of those in the lower tier, you're going to see me say that we should be maybe buying now, and I'll explain why. So for example, Stellar Crown and Paradox Rift. Stellar Crown was in my B tier. Paradox Rift, I think, might have been in my B tier as well. I put these in S tier for things that you should buy now. Why do I say that? Because booster boxes, you might still be able to find these between, maybe $90 to 100, maybe 110 on the upside for these booster boxes. Something I think that's definitely going to be inevitable is that in the next maybe 12 months, we can see these boxes easily climb up to 120, 130 a box. Maybe 12 to 24 months, we're seeing that these boxes get up to 150 or more per box for each of these sets. So I think in terms of what you could be buying today, these are going to be some of the best sets that are the lowest per booster box today, but have some of the best upside without as long of a wait for these sets. So Stellar Crown and Paradox Rift are in my S tier for sure. They're also very easy to find. A tier, then I have Scarlet and Violet base and Shrouded Fable. So again, weird take from me. These were both in my D tier for best sets. However, I think Scarlet and Violet base, again, it's the base set. It's the first booster box of the set. I think eventually, once distribution runs out of these boxes, these have a potential to see some decent upside. The problem is we don't know how long until that could be. This is, again, the first set that came out. Last I checked, distributors still had these in stock. It is probably the biggest print run that they had for a set. And so this is something that I put in A tier because, again, it's going to have good price movement, in my opinion. We just don't know when that's going to be. You're going to have to wait a little longer. Same thing with Shrouded Fable. Shrouded Fable, I think this is going to be a classic example of Pokemon prints a product. They might have printed maybe a little bit too much of it. Everyone hates it in the beginning. Everyone's trashing it. Pokemon decides, hey, we're gonna stop the printers on this. We're not gonna print any more of this. And then finally, once it does run out, though, those prices are gonna start jumping up. You're gonna have to wait a little longer. You might even need to wait for 2 years to see some movement on this. But I think this has some decent potential upside. B tier then is going to be Paldean Fates and Temporal Forces. Why are these in B tier? Well, again, Paldean Fates, I think it's one of the best sets out there today, but prices are already starting to go up on this. I just saw already that ETB cases were going for around 500 if not more. So ETBs are already up there for Paldean Fates. Temporal Forces, I think booster boxes, you might be able to find some for around $100, but I think they're creeping closer to 110, 120 area for Temporal Forces. So it's a decent time to buy these sets, but not as good as those in the S or A tier. The C tier then, so again, Surging Sparks and Obsidian Flames. Surging Sparks, I think it's going to be a fantastic set. I think it's riskier though. Again, I keep saying we don't know if this is going to be the evolving skies of Scarlet Violet. If it is, great. You could buy it now for $140 a box, and then maybe you have to wait 2 to 3 years, and Surging Sparks ends up being 500 bucks a box, right? Fantastic investment there. But again, we don't know if that's really going to hold up long term. So again, longer term, it's still probably going to be a promising set regardless of what ends up happening. We could see again in 2 years, you could buy it today for 140. In 2 or 3 years, it could be 200 bucks a box, maybe 250 a box. It's In 5 years, it could definitely probably hit 250 a box, but still, again, we don't know how long you're waiting. There might be some better things for you to buy today that have a little more promise of an upside and a little faster. So Surging Sparks is great, just a little risky. Obsidian Flames is a different story. It was a very weak set. I personally loved Obsidian Flames, but for a long time, I think to master the set was like 200 bucks, 250 bucks for a complete master set. And now all of a sudden, booster box cases are going for 720. Booster boxes themselves are going for 120, 125. It's an odd situation there where it quickly kind of reversed on itself and now price is going up. I'm in a weird situation with Obsidian Flames. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Again, it's weird how cheap it was to master the set versus the sealed product. So that's a C tier for me. Although I personally love the set, I think the singles buying them themselves are great to hold on to long term. And then D tier, I put D tier because again, the price is already up there. They might be great long term, but there's just better opportunities out there to buy right now. Paldea Evolved specifically, I'm not a huge fan of it. Never was a huge fan of it. I think it's overhyped. Twilight Masquerade, again, it's a decent set today. People love chasing the Gray Ninja. Are they going to continue chasing the Gray Ninja, or is that going to get dethroned by another chase card later in the set? We just don't know. So it's a little risky to go in and buy a bunch of that today. 151, I think, is a great set if you can find it for cheap. But again, it's already pretty priced up there right now, unless you're finding booster bundles at GameStop for like what, 30 bucks or so. It's a pretty expensive set to be buying today. So with that being said, then what products can you be looking for, and what am I at least looking for out there on the market today that I'm buying up and I'm holding on to, or at least looking to hold on to, either for 3 months, 6 months, or 1 to 2 years? So same tier list here, but just a few products that I wanted to share in terms of what I'm looking for. Again, even though 151's in D tier, again, I'm putting it out there. If you can find the packs themselves, go out there and buy that up. It's a great opportunity. It's just not easy to come by today. So for example, again, if you can find it in GameStop, I know Costco has product out there right now. They're doing a mini reprint with product early next year. So again, when you can find it, it's going to be a fantastic set. So with that in mind, I probably should have bumped it up a bit. It's just hard to find, but if you can find it for market price, it's a great set to purchase today. Temporal Forces booster boxes, specifically Scarlet and Violet, Stellar Crown, and Paradox Rift booster boxes. Again, you'll see that I'm specifying booster boxes on these. ETBs and other product, it's just so overprinted. You can find loose packs way too easily. You can find ETBs are printed into oblivion. I would not be buying any of that up. I would just be buying booster boxes when you can find them. Now, I'm going to go back on my word on this though and say Shrouded Fable, and actually these are the wrong images, but Pokemon Center, oh no, I'm sorry. Shrouded Fable ETBs and then Paldean Fates ETBs, I would say are both a buy. Again, for special sets, ETBs are a little bit of a different story. Even though they're so printed, they do see some better price movement because I think out of all the options, it's some of the best prices per pack. So ETBs for these sets are fantastic. And then specifically the booster bundle displays for Paldean Fates. I don't know how I feel about booster bundles for Shrouded Fable. It's a new territory that we're kind of stepping into with booster bundles, but specifically booster bundle displays for Paldean Fates, I think are a great buy today. If you can find those for like maybe 250 or sub 250 on the market, those are a great buy as well. So this is the products that I'm keeping an eye out for and I'm looking at myself. Then the final kind of like bonus or honorable mentions that I wanted to bring up as well is some of the Pokemon Center ETBs themselves. So again, I'm going to kind of be a little bit of a hypocrite here, but I do think it's worth buying a few Pokemon Center Surging Sparks ETBs. I think they just went out of stock today, but when that set releases, you can expect those to go back in stock. Twilight Masquerade Pokemon Center ETBs. Again, even though we don't know today how well these sets are going to do long term, I don't think it's a bad decision to go out and buy a few of these. Worst case, you might be getting your money back if you decide to sell for market price. Maybe you lose a few bucks, but there's some decent potential upside there where I'm willing to take the risk and buy Pokemon Center ETBs for these to see if they do well long term. On top of that, I'm also putting Brilliant Stars Pokemon Center ETBs on this list as well. Brilliant Stars was stuck at, I think, 160 a booster box for a long time. And then out of nowhere, I think I just checked in Brilliant Stars is $200 a booster box. So this is a great set I think you should be looking into. I also had Lost Origin on this set because those were in stock earlier this week. I just went to go grab that screenshot and I just noticed it's Lost Origin PC ETBs are now out of stock. So those were things that I was looking at. Again, the one thing though, why these are honorable mentions, I personally also am not sure about how I feel about Pokemon Center ETBs long term. It's a newer concept that started in the Sword and Shield era. Although they've done decently well in the short term, how much they're printed, how much the demand is going to last long term, it's a little bit of a stickier situation for me where, again, I'm just trying to take a gamble on what's going to do well, maybe short term, not something I'm going to have to hold on to for 5 or 10 years and hope that people are still interested in the Pokemon TCG. So these are my thoughts in terms of what I think is worth buying. What are the hot sets today? And again, some of the honorable mentions in terms of some of the things I'm taking a little bit of a riskier purchase on. But again, I think it's worth it in at least even the short term and a little bit of the long term here. So with that being said, thanks for watching my video, everyone. Please do feel free to share below what are some of the sets that you're buying. Do you think that anything else should be in the S or A tier? One of the sets that's gotten you excited to open that maybe I didn't necessarily mention, or what are the things that you're looking forward to and what do you think could possibly dethrone Surging Sparks and Twilight Masquerade in the next year or so. So thanks again for watching, everyone. Hopefully you were able to take something away from this, and then I hope to make another video in the near future. Thanks. Bye.